how does it feel to be back in Los Angeles, a city that's been so special in your career, in your life, back from those 1984 Olympic Games, I believe?
It's fantastic to be back in Los Angeles, which actually people should always remember is a two-time. And really it's a city that was at the forefront of changing attitudes to sport. In 1932, Mildred Didrikson, Babe Didrikson, starred here as a three-time Olympic medalist and went on to do extraordinary things for women in sport. And then, of course, in 1984, it was the first time that the women were able to run the marathon on the streets of an Olympic game. So, for me personally, obviously, lovely to be back in a city where I successfully defended a title, but also to be in a city that made such a contribution to the Olympic movement, both on and off the track.
You are the chair of the British Olympic Committee and Paralympic Committee. Paralympic Committee, how do you feel having this honor to be able to reach out and help so many special need athletes in the world?
The Paralympic Games for us is a very serious sporting event. It was a British creation in 1948, while the Olympians were competing at Wembley and all our other venues in London. A small gathering of disabled ex-servicemen were organising their own sporting event just outside London at a military hospital. And from that genesis came the Paralympic movement. By 1960 they were involved in the Olympic Games, and of course we tend to look at 2012 as an opportunity to say the Paralympic Games are coming home. So we take the Paralympic Games very seriously, and anybody that's watched Paralympic sport will recognise what an extraordinary achievement at the highest level of sport those competitors are undertaking.
So will they be held at parallel at the same time, Paralympic Games, and they're not, is it a different date, venue?
No, they're not carried. They're not run at the same time. But we have closed the gap, the traditional gap between the Olympic and Paralympic Games. So we're down to roughly about 10 days, so that we maintain the party atmosphere, we maintain the extraordinary celebration of sport through to the Paralympic Games, and we have already sold over half our tickets for the Paralympic Games, which is unprecedented at this stage. For an organising committee.
Latin community here in Los Angeles and the US is the fastest growing community in the country, and the first minority. Next Olympic Games will be in Brazil. What memories can you recall from those running years, Lord Coe, in South America? Any particular story that you can pinpoint to us who are a Latin network from those years in the races? Will you be in Brazil? I'm sure you will be in Brazil with the British Commission, but any particular memories?
Well, of course, my key competitors in 1984 in this city were Brazilian. Joachim Cruz was my main competitor for the 8 and the 1500 metres. The Brazilian that went on to win the 800 metres, but he had two very good compatriots in the team at the time, Agberto Guimarães, who is now the Director of Sport for the Rio Games in 2016, and another athlete, very fine 800 metre athlete called Barbosa. And of course it was a Spaniard, Jose Maria Abascal, who finished second in the 1500 metres from Spain. So
second to you.
Second to me. So actually Latin America and athletes of Spanish descent and Portuguese descent competed at the very highest level in Los Angeles.
Have you had the chance to run in any of these countries, Lord Coe?
I never raced in South America or Central America, sadly, but I did race against those competitors on many occasions, both in the United States and in Europe.
Do you still get up in the mornings and run, or train maybe your children or younger generations of Brits who dream of being one day an Olympic medalist like yourself in 2 different Olympic Games? And I mean, Is that something that still has a passion over you?
I try to run a few days every week and work out. Obviously, at the moment, that's not the easiest. That's not the easiest activity to slice into my travel arrangements. I've got children that are active in sport, but they all tend to be footballers and rugby players and hockey players. So I don't think I've bred an athlete, but they do love their sport.
Well, great. It's been an honor. I used to live in England when you were running. I used to go to school in London, and for me, it's a real thrill to be able to speak with you today. And I remember that everybody used to just freeze and watch you run, and you've been an example to England and to the kids. And I remember from that time as well. It's beautiful. I wanted to ask you a question, Lord Co. Are you with me, or are you with the Woolwich? God bless you, Lord Co.
Thank you.
All the best. All
Thank
right.
you.